On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out how Scott Pilgrim handles the documentary treatment, if Damian Wayne can go full Kevin McAllister in the new film Merry Little Batman, and whether or not the world is ready for a Hindi version of Riverdale. All of that and more on an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. Hello, nerds, and welcome to the Superhero Show, the only podcast that covers every live-action TV show based on the comic book, and of course, any of the animated ones we feel like doing. I'm your host for the evening, Mike Gravano. It's a December to remember, and so I'm your host for the rest of the month. Deal with it. With me, as always, is Ryan.
We cleared this with the board. We cleared this with HR, and this is a Happy Honda Days company with that, like that. We're all inclusive with Hondas. So please do that. So
you're ignoring December.
I'm not ignoring December. I'm saying
I feel like December to remember is fully agnostic.
I'm saying in December we say Happy Honda Days. Every time I walk into the Pop Filter studio, I would like everyone to wish me a Happy Honda Days.
I'm sorry, I came from a Toyota-thon family, and
then why are you saying December to remember? Isn't that Lexus?
Is it? Because I truly don't know. I just feel like that is for all cars. It's a December to remember.
Oh, really? All cars can just say December to... No, it's Lexus.
Hashtag, Ryan, all cars matter.
I don't think that's true.
Mackenna, we're going to need somebody else to weigh in here. What faith-based car celebration did you grow up with?
Oh, we were fully on board with Ford, which gets a lot of shit. So...
What is Ford's fucking December thing?
Ford,
we're
gonna break
suck
down,
these
but
truck
you'll
nuts.
Make it to the holiday eventually.
Ford, do you mean fix or repair December?
Yeah.
Ooh, eat
Build
it,
a
Ford.
snowman while you wait for a tow truck.
I love that we're talking car shop and Cassie's not here. Somewhere, steam is pouring out of her ears.
Flames?
Flames? Talk about, longtime listeners will know I randomly will make and or just buy you guys shirts. And I saw one today of Madeline Kahn. That's Madeline Kahn, right?
It is.
And it was her face, and it just had flames and like metal, like, you know, the metal band font underneath. And I was like, no, I just bought them dumb shirts. I can't do this again.
I just heard a band called Lankum.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scared to listen to them. They were a delight, a fucking delight down to my potato rotting
talk
core.
about family heritage.
Made the red curly hairs on the back of my taint stand up. But I was nervous to listen to them because of the font. They had kind of a metal font when I saw the album cover. I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this. But they were great.
But you could still, even though Lankum's not a real word, you could read it. The more metal it is, the less legible of like human language the letters are.
I was also a little nervous because the band Lankum, the name of the album, False Lankum. So what are we doing here then?
I think this is not what they normally sound like. I think this whole album is a fucking spy op.
They're usually Scottish and now they're pretending to be Irish.
Yes. And we know those are different brogues. Some people don't even count one of those as a brogue.
Can people tell can longtime listeners, as you call them, LTLs, can people tell what's going on with our future? Because we're doing the shortest of shows tonight and talking about the best music of the year, and we're prepping for other things that we actually care about.
Best t-shirts of the year, best music of the year. It is, who cares what car is called December? We are 3 knuckles deep in best of the year prep.
Yes.
Is that how to say it? Is that
3 knuckles,
that's accurate.
Yeah, 3 knuckles deep. Everybody's a fan. That's not what we're here to talk about. Did I say, oh, that's Ryan, that's Mackenna? Did I do this?
You did it, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of Junior, Casey Jr. over here. Casey Light.
Casey Jr.
Cassie Jr.
I thought you were talking about the train, Casey Jr.
I'm all fucked up because Cassie's not here.
We're all sad. Yeah. She'll be back in months.
Did you want to give her the service that she usually does for you when you miss of talking about the grisly death that she suffered just before the show?
Oh, yeah. What kind of putrid, rotten, butt-based death is Cassie going to get?
I'm something to do with like butt cheeks falling off is usually what she gives you.
I think her left cheek fell off. She slipped on it as if it was some sort of animated banana peel and broke her fucking neck on the other one.
Wow. Take that, Cassie.
Tonight we are talking about the movie The Archies, the TV show Yu Yu Hakusho, the movie Merry Little Batman. But before all of that, episodes 4 and 5 of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. On the 4th and 5th episodes of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, we learn more about Lucas Lee and Todd Ingram. Young Neil's movie is being made, and Lucas is playing Scott, Envy Adams is Ramona, and Wallace Wells is being played with a notorious heterosexual. Things go awry when paparazzi ninjas chase Lucas, and Todd Ingram is recast as Scott, and the real Wallace is cast as Wallace. Ramona becomes a stunt double for Envy's Ramona, and a documentary crew captures it all. Taste buds, I ask you this. We've seen a lot of Hollywood parodies in the past. How does the Scott Pilgrim cartoon stack up?
It is one of them.
Undeniably.
Undeniably one of those parodies. I think that Scott Pilgrim, what we're learning from this show so far, as we hit the halfway point, is that Scott Pilgrim really loves living in Scott Pilgrim's own bubble. You know,
yes.
And I think it loves the self-referential stuff as much as it does reaching out and maybe be like satirizing anything else. I think that the video game parodies are there, but the social parodies are there, but like they are anything but surface level. What they really like doing is like saying, "Welcome to our world. Let's just look inward as much as possible at this, the world that we've already created and you already loved. If you didn't, then why are we making this show?"
I do like, it does feel like the show is a mockery of the fans. Like, oh, you'd want more Scott Pilgrim? You are young Neil then, who wrote a screenplay about his friends. His screenplay is basically the movie that we saw 20 years ago. It's What If Scott Was Not Killed by Matthew Patel. But young Neil also does not remember writing this ever. He thinks his sleep paralysis demon wrote it, which means he probably wrote it.
He embraces it beautifully.
Yeah. He embraces everything. I do think what's fun about this show and seeing alternate versions is characters that were super sidelined in the movie are getting much more time to shine. And something
Even
about
all
his
their lack of complexity.
Yes.
Getting so much time to shine.
And there's something about his very not shiny, very deadpan, not going to actually grow or think about anything. I'm really enjoying young Neil.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do I like listening to young Neil talk? Because I'm not sure.
Are you talking voice or what lines he's delivering?
Just if I had to listen to him like read an audiobook, would I love it or would it be the worst thing I've ever heard?
I think a whole audiobook would be rough. But if he interjects it's like loud and wacky, and then every once in a while you'll get, oh wow. I think that would be a nice breather.
Does he sometimes have like a little demon, Etrigan the demon going where he'll just rhyme for no reason? I thought I heard some of that going on.
Possibly.
I do think that some of these characters were better left two-dimensional.
And are you saying young Neil is one of them?
Yes, Mike, I am. I do think that I am.
I really
have
like
to
the young
disagree.
Neil.
I think it's delightful that we're getting this flat character just somehow present more.
Because it's so inward facing, all of the people playing versions of themselves and or their enemies, how did that work for y'all? Who's doing the best version of another person here?
Version of another person or version of themselves?
Yes. Envy is playing Ramona. Lucas and Todd both play Scott. Ramona is Ramona's stunt double.
I think Luke is playing Scott, who can't, like, just only understands it as him being Scott.
Right.
And
Scott.
maybe he's being method, or maybe he's fucking really stupid. And I'm not sure those are that different based on most of the stories I've heard from sets of people playing method.
Right.
But that's probably my favorite. And just watching the frustration on Ramona's face trying to talk to him.
I'm here to talk about Scott.
I'm Scott.
And a good callback. Todd, also, we've learned, and maybe you read the books and watched the movie, and you're like, no, I think I can tell Ramona does have a type, even though they seem different. They are all dumb. She doesn't go for smart people. They're all variations on morons.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that she hates love. She's scared of love.
She's the problem? Yes.
She is constantly making sure that love is impossible for her.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, you're starting to get that.
The worst person to pair with.
Yeah, the one that will, whatever relationship will end the fastest is what she's absolutely into.
Because that's you just
But it's not even like
suck
the
that
relationship
in.
that will
Yeah.
end the fastest. She's still the one ending it. So even if she picked a good person, if you're the one controlling the end of the relationship.
Sure, but maybe she's worried that she wouldn't end it if she picked a good person. So
Yes, and she's never picked a good person.
yeah, I mean, there's no quality person here.
What's wild is each episode we get flashbacks of when she was actually with people, and Lucas seemed fine in high school. He seemed like a fine high school boyfriend.
It's just that he got
They become
famous?
Fucked up after she leaves them.
Or
Maybe
she
a little
leaves
bit.
them, and then 10 years pass, and then other things happen. I
would argue that Roxy is not the worst.
She's not like evil X, but she's
Right.
not, again, the most dynamic of personalities. She's kind of crazy.
Yeah, she gets shifted now because she was episode 3, right? And so in episode 4 and episode 5, we now realize what they're doing. Each episode, one of the X's gets a flashback. And so episode 4 is Lucas, and we get the flashback and see them together. Episode 5 is Todd, flashback. Roxy does seem to... I feel like I know the least about Roxy out of the
Just that
X's
they
we've
were,
seen
college
flashbacks.
roommates.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, going back to episode 3, like, not the most grounded person, and again, not evil. So huge green flag.
Yes.
Check mark underneath her name for sure. But her whole Ramona says, no, we're just gonna be friends. Oh, then I'm gonna move on to the next person to become like psycho about. So just not
a
stable.
great person.
Yeah.
It is interesting watching what we're 5 episodes in now, seeing who comes in the most. I did not expect Chris Evans to be, and then Brie Larson and Brandon Routh to be so often. It's interesting that Mae Whitman, it feels like they got the least, because Roxy's in it the least, and so maybe it's availability. She's not the biggest of stars, and I was like,
Her?
probably could use way more Mae Whitman
Yeah, probably.
than Chris Evans.
Well, Chris Evans' lines are very short, though, so they don't take that long to record.
But there's a
It's
lot of
probably
them.
the same line.
Yeah. They just keep playing the same whatever over and over and over again.
Whatever.
But for him to learn all that skateboarding that they had to record
Yes.
as well, that's
Yeah.
And
very
they went,
impressive.
Chris, you don't need to do this. It's animated. And he's like, I'm not the same Chris Evans I was when we made the movie. I'm Captain America now, and I can do this all day. And by this, he means a 360 kickflip.
That's America's skateboard.
That's America's skateboard. The music in the Lucas episode, I'm enjoying the music throughout anyway, but they're like, it's about skateboarding. I guess we could do as much punk and punk-based things as possible. Is it also your guys' favorite soundtrack of any episode so far?
Not just punk and punk bass, but literally the music from literally the Tony Hawk video literal game.
Were Dead Kennedys in the Tony Hawk game?
I think every song from this episode was from a Tony Hawk game.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. Because
It felt so much like a Tony Hawk game. I felt so sucked into.
I didn't know I could enjoy animated skateboarding, and this made me like that, especially animated skateboarding versus a horde of ninjas.
Although I will say that I wish they had committed more. Like, they really commit to making the fights, at least in the first couple of episodes, look like
Video games?
16-bit fights. Like, this didn't look like the Tony Hawk game that we knew. But it did
Right.
make me think, do you guys remember how fucking popular that game was?
Yeah.
Mackenna, I don't know if you were born yet when Tony Hawk games were around.
Oh, I was obsessed. So maybe they were ancient. They were vintage by the time I was playing them, but I was definitely into it.
You had to go into your grandfather's basement, like blow the dust off them. They like, for some reason, it's weird to talk about now, and it's weird to talk about before they came out. But the entire world was playing skateboarding video games.
Yeah. It was... California was big. Skateboard culture, the X Games were starting, the Warped Tour. I'm just going to keep listing things off tangentially related.
Shaun White, Mountain Dew, Code Red.
That's my favorite
It
song.
all makes you
from
want to
Tony
spend hours trying to, grind on a helicopter blade so you can unlock a level.
Hawk. Yeah, I'm going to grind on every helicopter blade. And you know what? I'm Matt Bowman. Way better than Tony Hawk.
And you guys remember walking into like a mall or whatever, and you would be like, grind, roll up that wall.
Yeah.
And then parkour got popular, and you would do the same thing every time you walked into a room.
I saw a great image on the Reddit of a drained... What's the holy water bowl in a Catholic church called?
Toilet.
Toilet, and it was the Pope's toilet, and somebody was like, that'd be the best fingerboarding anybody had ever done, but you'd go straight to hell for it. And that is the same mentality.
Exactly.
In the Todd episode, we get a documentary. They've stopped lampooning video games, which they are best at, and they're like, no, let's double down on this Hollywood thing, and now let's do a behind-the-scenes documentary of Scott Pilgrim's precious little life.
Well, in episode 4, we hear the voice of the director.
Yes. Edgar Wrong. Excuse me.
Edgar Wrong. Do you know who voiced him?
My guess is, because I did see in the credits, Shaun of the Dead. What's his name?
No, Simon Pegg and
Nick Frost. Oh, they're security guards.
They're security guards. And I love how you say my guess is, because I saw it in the credits. I don't think that's a guess
Is that
anymore.
not a guess?
But then you still got it wrong. That was Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall. And I'm like, all right, so the voice acting is not going to get better than that. And then episode 5 starts, the documentary starts, and who's one of the directors? It's Weird Al Yankovic. So we're here, like, this is unbelievable. The second director of the documentary is, of course, the actor with no name other than Robbie from New Girl, who Cece dates for a time.
We got them both. We got the two greatest nerd actors, Weird Al Yankovic and Robbie from New Girl, who dates Cece for a time.
It's funny, but accurate. If you said the actor's name, would have had no idea who
Yeah.
you were talking about.
No.
You say Robbie from New Girl, I know exactly who you mean.
I liked him in Robbie as New Girl. I liked him as one of the tech guys in The Office. I've seen this guy's entire catalog. Could not tell you his fucking name.
I think that he was in one episode of The Office, and we know him better from that than his real fucking name. Oh, too?
He was a tech guy, but he was also at the fair.
Good memory as a different person.
Yeah.
I grew up across the street from him, and I know him better in his 2-episode run of The Office than his actual personality.
He was also one of the guys from Veep who would just take shit from the balding guy.
Yes.
From Dan Bachthal.
From Dan Bachthal. Man, there's a character actor name, Paul. I'm impressed by you, my friend. That guy, just because his face, he has to be a piece of shit. He's never played a nice character. Dan Bachthal I'm talking about. Because look at his fucking face.
Well, I know that you were talking about him and not Robbie from New Girl because you used a first name and a last name.
Yeah.
You couldn't have been talking about Robbie from New Girl.
And I've arguably seen more of Robbie from New Girl's career than Dan Bachtal's.
I want to see a buddy cop movie that's like this summer, Chris Rock and Robbie from New Girl are partners. But yeah, this is the kind of shit, and I read about more towards the end of the season a different kind of episode that we're going to get that we get in every single show, and this is the documentary thing, and like I'm a sucker for it because it's just exposition, it's just information dumps and character dumps, but done in a clever way. Because more importantly, it's joke dumps. You know, like you get a very clean, easy joke highway, and it almost always works.
And then an increasing, almost every 3 minutes, the more and more characters pulling other characters out of their interviews. And you think that'd get tired, but you're like, no, every time somebody yells something ridiculous and somebody says, but I'm in an interview, it gets funnier.
Right. Now, there was something awful that happened in this episode. I don't know if you guys noticed. Wrote it down in your notes. Did you guys take copious notes?
Copious.
Okay.
Wow.
There's a Grease 2 reference.
I loved that. Yes, I fucking did a ooh.
McKenna, do you know what this movie is?
Grease 2? No, before my time.
Okay. It's a sequel to the film Grease. We'll start there.
Arguably
Before
better.
my time.
No one has... It's arguably better than a very bad movie. But Grease 2 has often been called one of the worst movies of all time.
I love it. Imagine a young, lithe Michelle Pfeiffer.
Jesus, settle
Max
down,
Caulfield,
bro.
a.k.a. Rex Manning from Empire Records. Frenchie's back. The Principal's back. Eugene is back. It's great. Should we do a podcast about Grease too?
I hope you're talking to McKenna right now.
Yeah. It was because Stephen Stills and Knives Chow write a musical and pitch Matthew Patel. This is like in the margins of what's going on. We don't know this will be a huge plot point later in the show.
Isn't Stephen Stills a member of a band that also involves Crosby and Nash?
Yes.
Is it the same guy?
It's the same guy, same actor. I can't believe they got him.
You want to like? I've seen the movie a couple times. Once when it came out, and once fairly recently when I was like, "That movie, everyone loves." I barely remember Young Neil. I don't remember this other guy at all.
Well,
Who played
those
him?
are the two. Young Neil and Stephen Stills are the two who everybody else got famous, and they refused. They refused to get big. They refused to join Marvel.
Is this guy played by your favorite actor who played big Jay Leno comedian on The OC, and he was in The Loop? Every time I can't remember who somebody is, it's your favorite actor, that guy.
It is. I love that guy whose name we also don't know and refuse. The Loop. Do you remember The Loop? He was also in that show about the devil where he just like started hanging out with the devil. Reaper. Thank you.
And he was the boyfriend on Grounded for Life.
Man, that's where I fell in love with him. Of course, Grounded for Life on the first two
Who
seasons.
played Stephen Stills?
See, I don't know. Some random dude. But not that guy. Not my friend Brad.
I'm going to use the internet while you talk.
Why would you use the internet? Why can't we just wonder?
It makes for bad podcasting.
Wondering? No, normally because people are like, who is that? And that people are screaming the real name. Nobody's going to know Stephen Stills' name.
Even the internet?
Even the internet.
All right, keep talking. I'm still looking.
Because it's the Todd episode, and Todd is a vegan, there's a lot of vegan jokes. McKenna, 20 years ago when the movie came out, vegan jokes were du jour. How do they hit now when being a vegan seems a pretty normal thing to be?
I think they still hit because I think it's still relevant to being vegan is normal, but there are still vegans who are obsessed with telling people that they're vegans. And that still will always be fun to make fun of.
Do you think it's true that vegans are unusually loyal to their partners?
I think this episode calls into question the truth of that. They do have strong willpower. I think anyone who maintains a vegan, you're stubborn. So I think that adds an element to loyalty, right? You don't give in very easily. So yeah, sure.
So yeah, why not? Ryan?
Why not?
All right. News break. There's a TV movie made in 2019 called LA Confidential based on James Ellroy's novel of the same name.
What?
Jack Vincennes, Kevin Spacey's character, was played by Walton Goggins.
Nice.
And where did it go? Bud White, Russell Crowe's character, was played by Mark Webber, who played Stephen Stills in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
In the credits, I'm like, know that name. And then it always says Mark Webber. And I go, who the fuck is that? So now I know. So thank you. It's time for Moments of the Week. McKenna, what's your moment of the week?
I really, really liked Young Neil moments. So my moment of the week is really just him on screen, but especially when he insisted that Mario Karts are golf carts in other countries. Or golf carts are called Mario Karts in other countries.
And then when he's told that's not true, he makes up a different fact immediately. Yeah. A different, equally untrue fact.
Right, guy?
I've got two. One is Ramona's terrible way of making lists. You make a long list.
Yes.
And then you cross things off one at a time. She writes down one thing, crosses it off, and then writes down the second thing. That's not how you... I don't know why.
It's not
That drives me fucking nuts. That's not how you make a list, bro. And then my second one is in this... I don't think... When we were talking about the music, I don't think we talked about this. Because the internet, there's no such thing as like, oh, I forgot about that song, right? We're just a wash of every song that's ever been written at all times. But this is my United States of whatever. Completely gone from my head. I had forgotten about it.
You don't live in my household then?
I do not. Liam Lynch, I want to say.
Yeah. Good pull.
Wow.
And they played the whole song. Like,
Yes, they did.
What a blast from the past. Happy to hear it for 10 seconds, and then I was like, oh, wait, this song fucking sucks.
and then I ran into Office Leroy, and he's like, hey, you better, whatever. No, me and my
This
wife,
is my United States of whatever.
anytime we're like, oh, do you want to do this? And if we don't care, we go, whatever.
It's big in my household, not because of the song, but because of his name. Because if you do something like make a motion and the other person flinches, you say, okay, Liam, flinch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect call. I really liked, super small moment, the documentary crew hears every time there's a fight, the video game blank versus blank comes in, and they go, who said that? And it tickled me. It's fun when a show where anything can happen can surprise you.
Like when the priest realized that Fleabag looks at no one.
Yes.
sometimes.
Oh, that moment was, let's just talk about Fleabag. That is all we have time for this. We're going to take the quiz breaks, and we come back every other show or movie that came out this week. It is time for the pull list, where we talk about every other thing that came out this week, starting with The Archies.
The Archies, released in the States this week on Netflix, and a couple of weeks ago at the 54th International Film Festival of India, probably marks the first feature-length film adaptation of an Archie comic in Hindi. Named after the band the characters form, the movie tells the story of Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, and all the rest as they sing, dance, fall in love, and try to save their favorite local park from developers. Critics say that it too much straddles the line between Hollywood and Bollywood. Without picking a side, taste buds, I ask you this. If they were going to do it right and go full Bollywood, not Hollywood, Bollywood with a B,
Yes.
which one of our shows would you most like to see done?
Oh.
I'll give you a second. That's it. Second's over. One.
Dark.
Alligator. No, dark matter does not fucking count. I almost wrote that in here to stop picking dark matter for everything we do. That's fine. Why dark matter, Mike?
Just the depth and breadth of characters.
Like
And-
Captain Mark Datter?
Like Captain Mark Datter and the rest, to see how they would do in song and dance form. 1, 2, other numbers.
The rest?
McKenna, who would you want to see Bollywooded?
My first thought was like Doom Patrol, but they already do a lot of dancing and singing, and I don't know if it would heighten it.
Not Bollywood, though.
They don't do any Bollywood, and I do think they could pull it off. But I think if there was one thing that could ever get me to watch any of the Walking Dead series, it would be if you told me it was Bollywood.
Oh,
So-
the zombies doing the Bollywood dance with the head, but yes.
I would be sold. So if you ever wanted me to actually watch one of those episodes, that's how you would do it.
I'll bet you guys $20 right now that if Bollywood Walking Dead came out that week, we'd be like, we didn't watch it.
Yeah, we're not
sorry.
fucking- I know we said we would, but it's still Walking Dead.
Keep in mind, you do have to pick something that you would want to watch for like 3.5 hours because those bitches are long.
And I did. Dark Matter.
The
Ryan,
correct
what about
answer is Legends of Tomorrow. It's just so obvious.
Yes. It's just so obvious.
It's just so obvious.
The Archies is just on Netflix because it's a film.
This is 2 hours, 20 minutes, by the way, this musical comedy. So
Shorter than RRR,
it's true.
the last Bollywood movie I watched.
What was that rated?
Triple X, actually.
Shit. Spirit of the Union? What was the sequel called? State of the Union.
Spirit of the Union. Next up is Yu Yu Hakusho.
Debuting this week on Netflix, Yu Yu Hakusho is a live-action show that is based on a 1990 manga series. A series that also...
Because we do manga.
Yeah, not Star Wars. A series that also spawned an anime, 2 animated films, multiple soundtrack albums, a number of video games, and an encyclopedia. In the first episode of the show, our main character, Yusuke, meets his spirit world guide right when the human world starts to go to shit. Taste buds, I ask you this. Does the human world going to shit aspect make this premise a little unbelievable?
Yeah, I could never see the human world going to shit.
Can't wrap my mind around it.
It's too unbelievable.
This is... Was that a Ryan impression?
You? Yes.
I looked it up because I was like, video games? Let's see how many. It says a number of video games, so let's see how many. Any guesses?
7.
3.
Mackenna wins. It's 26.
Holy.
Yep. More than 10 on Game Boy alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what is Yu Yu Hakusho on, Ryan?
Also Netflix. All 5 episodes dropped, but we're going to do the first one this week, which is done now. And then 2 more next week, 2 more the week after that.
Next up, and not on Netflix, is the animated film Merry Little Batman.
In Merry Little Batman, Gotham is crime-free when the Justice League is called away for a secret mission, leaving little Damian Wayne home alone for the holidays. In Batman's absence, villains return, and it's up to little Damian Wayne to defend Gotham. Taste buds, I ask you this. Who is better at fighting bad guys when home alone? Little Batman or Kevin McAllister?
It's always Kevin McAllister. That's not fair to anybody.
I mean, how many paint cans does Damian Wayne use?
I think the answer is 0, and no booby traps.
Well, shit.
Very little old black and white film.
I will say I watched 20 minutes of this because sometimes you have to poop. And seems delightful. And if you miss like old Nicktoons style animation that's gross and horrifying.
Yeah, I saw some Ren
it.
and Stimpy in the trailer.
Oh, yeah. There's some
like,
Ren and Stimpy. There's some Courage the Cowardly Dog in there.
Fairly Odd Parents, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a dash.
And also, did we say who the Batman is?
It's Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson.
No, it's,
Our daddy.
it's Bruce Wayne, you fucking morons. You guys don't know who Batman is?
What?
Oh, should I not
Is
have
it
said that out
spoiler
loud?
when it could kill somebody?
That identity was supposed to be protected.
Also, he has a beard,
Yeah.
but like that's a decision that they made? Or was that an animation choice?
It's a decision they made. It's because Damian, the minute Bruce Wayne found out he'd be a zaddy, he murderized all criminals in Gotham. So there's been no crime in Gotham for like 6 years.
That's awesome.
And so he grew his beard because now he's just hangs out.
That is, once you don't like have work to do or like important work, you just grow your beard. I can
Look in
tell
the mirror,
you that.
my friend.
Trust me, I know.
Merry Little Batman is on Amazon Prime. That is everything we have to talk about this week. Before we get out of here, Mackenna, can you tell our lovely listeners about some websites?
Absolutely. If you want to learn more about this show, other shows, all sorts of content, you're going to want to go to popfilter.co, and that is the website for this show. The other website you want to use, especially if you're doing some post-holiday shopping. I don't know when this drops. Post-holiday shopping, I must say.
Every day
it's
every day is
holidays.
post-holiday, yeah.
Every day
It's
is post-holiday
post-some.
and pre-holiday shopping on Amazon. You want to go to popfilter.co/Amazon and do
Hell
all of your
yeah.
shopping on that. And if you want to send some emails, contact@popfilter.co.
Nice.
I mean, if you're going to get the email address right, you might as well throw it out there. 'Cause
Might as well just, yeah. I appreciate, Mackenna, you, like, even when I'm not on, I listen, right? And what I appreciate about you, more than Ryan and Cassie, you're like, I will do every commercial I remember until I run out of breath.
Sorry.
No, that was a sincere compliment. I know I don't know how to give those.
Take it as something, flattery from you.
Usually Mike says things like, you know what I appreciate about you, McKenna, is that you're a fucking piece of shit.
You stink like shit. You don't know how to shower.
Pretty much.
Ryan, what other shows should people check out?
Oh, man, Mike, you know what I would love for you to check out is Movie of the Year, where me and you and our good friend Greg are battling it out over the year 1973 to figure out what is the single greatest movie of 1973. Also, sit your ass down and listen as a bunch of people are about to get together to figure out what is the single greatest everything of 2023. It is a months-long process that uses lab coats, goggles, gloves,
Right? Guns,
petri dishes,
peaches,
cum from a can, peaches
from a
cum,
span from a bag.
peaches cum that was put there by Timothy Chalamet. That's
That
movie of the year.
is not eligible.
No, we're gonna put it in there.
Why not?
Catch Me If You Come with Timothy Chalamet.
Check us out on Instagram at Your Pop Filter. Hit us up there. And then one more website that we have is McKenna. You've been cooking a personal website on your free time.
Like
And what's
meth?
that all about?
It's
Yeah, you've been cooking websites like meth.
I've been cooking. Well, those are my two hobbies. so I've got to keep them. It's called Deciphering Mike, and it's telling when Mike is being sincere if he talks to you or being a dick and insulting you. I have trouble with this. I know a lot of other people have trouble with this, so this website's going to do a lot of good in the world.
So is that you put the website on your phone and then you hold up your phone to him and then
like Shazamming?
It goes red or green?
And it'll just be like, a thumbs up, or just your phone will kind of just have a flame screen.
If he's being a dick, it'll show you a picture of Shazam with Shaq or Kazam with Shaq. And if he's being nice, it'll be Shazam with Sinbad.
With Sinbad, exactly.
I think you need to make this a thing, and you cannot do it alone, so you should go to my pals at cybersprout.net. They are good at maintenance, backup optimization, speed, drag and drop tools, other words that I remember from the commercial. Cybersprout.net, your partner for a digital world. Next week, we are talking about episodes 6 and 7 of Spot Pilgrim, and more Yu Yu Hakusho. That is it. I am Mike for Ryan, Mackenna for enough said.